Oh, good Lord, Travis! How can you function? How can you function without me being here?
I don't know, Mike.
Whoa!
Got it.
Okay.
You ever stepped on a dead wasp and the friggin' stinger get you?
Mm-hmm.
How are your headphones?
They're okay.
Yeah. You up, down, surround?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm fine. Travis will be okay.
It's all about you, Mike. I'm trying to make everything.
I understand. It's good. It's good. I don't worry too much.
All right, you ready, Mike?
I am ready.
All right, let's do something.
Let's do it.
Here we go.
The unit is self-contained with its own saddler, farrier, wheelwright, and so on. It's a rigorous training dished out who know all there is to know about horses, and it brings results.
We take you behind the scenes now to show just some of the interesting aspects of this training.
Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine, the award-winning #1 podcast to create sound of horses from the ground up. Mike Stine is a registered journeyman farrier with an APF 1 accreditation. On this week's show, talking terminology, the definition of sternum in a horse. Also, discussion a portion of an article from the American Farriers Journal about the sternum, and as well as the anatomy of learning, or leaning. The anatomy of leaning. The anatomy of leaning.
The anatomy of leaning.
And also, we have some pictures that Mike Stine uses it during his clinic, and make sure you follow us on YouTube so you can see those in real time as we're talking about them here on the air. And over to my far hand side is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing good, Travis. How are you?
April Fool's Day, everyone. April Fool's Day.
Right. Every day.
Every day is April Fool's.
Every day is April Fool's Day.
So for April Fool's, Mike, now we're not gonna do any tricks or anything for the audience because this is an educational show. So if they can't trust us here, they'll never trust us anywhere.
Right.
I think I got a song there somewhere. So tell us what's been going on with the last couple days with you. You said you got an emergency call. Now, this is for real now.
This is for real.
You got an emergency call, and they sent you some x-rays and stuff, and I'm going to switch screens here. So if you're not on the YouTube channel right now, make sure you go over and subscribe to Mike Stine over on YouTube. That's Equine Dynamics Mike Stine. Excuse me. And you can see these pictures and stuff in real time. So let me switch screens here so we can see this. Now, we're looking at an x-ray here that you got. Now, when did you get this x-ray? And I know you don't want to bring the customer's name up and stuff.
No, it doesn't matter at this point. I was sent these x-rays.
Now, what we're looking at here, this is what part of the...
This is a foot.
This is... but
a horse's foot.
Front or back?
These are front feet.
Okay.
And, with the new x-ray units, they turn everything facing the same way in their programs. But if you look real close and
I'm gonna zoom in so we can get real close.
Zoom in. There you go.
Okay.
And you can see. Can you see across the sole? You can see the different colors and shading between. There you go. And your live spacing in there is very thin.
Okay.
And this guy's sore-footed. And if you look at the dorsal wall, and you can see that little translucent line, and then you get into your sensitive, and you start looking at that, and go down to the tip of the coffin bone, and there's a little remodeling at the tip of the coffin bone. And in the x-rays, you can see some lines in the hoof wall, on the dorsal wall. Can you see that?
Right in here. Oh, right in here.
Right in there. Right
okay,
in there.
Yep.
Right in there. There you go. And so you kind of wonder if there's not a little history with this horse. Can you flip to the next one?
This is the next one.
This is the next one.
This is the next one. I just flipped it. Yeah.
You did flip it.
I did.
I didn't catch up with you. But if you can measure that spacing
between here and here?
Between here and here.
Okay.
And you go down to the bottom and measure that spacing between there, that's shallow, but between the tip of the tip and the dorsal wall, meaning to the front.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the there's I believe there's a little, I don't have anything measuring it right there, but I believe there's a little bit of expansion in there. And so is this a little more than just being sore-footed? Now, this is one of those deals where you get sent stuff, and can you come do something to fix my horse, but we want everything done just like it is, and we don't want you to do anything kind of deals.
I don't know what that means. What are they saying? Come look at my horse, rub your hands on the horse's feet, and magically cure the horse without doing anything to the horse?
Basically, yes.
Okay. It's kind of an odd request.
Well, no. You'd be surprised. And they don't want anything on the horse's feet because the horse has been barefoot for however long, which is fine.
Right.
And but right now the horse is tiptoeing around, and they don't want anything changed, but they want you to fix it. And it's one of those things I get hit with on multiple angles. I want you to do something to help the way my horse moves out, but I want everything done exactly like it is because this is where I like how my horse moves. And that's kind of where one of these deals was. And probably a little bit of history with the horse if you look at the tip of that cough bone and that spacing. As far as like some possible laminitic, I wasn't there. Could be a subclinical deal. Could be sore because, well, it's that time of the year. Well, it is that time of the year, isn't it?
For what?
For the grasses to spike up the sugars a little bit.
Yes.
Could be the horse was on harder ground. There's a lot of could be's, and it might settle down just fine in just a little bit. I don't know, but I always find these a little odd when somebody says, can you come right now to help my horse out, but we don't want anything changed at all.
Okay, so you took the x-rays. You got
No, I did not.
I'm sorry. When I say you, I meant, yeah.
The veterinarian took the x-rays.
The veterinarian took the x-rays. You're looking at the x-rays with the veterinarian, and then did both of you agree saying this horse needs what?
Well, I got some feedback from the x-rays from the veterinarian about possibly doing something pad work. And honestly, on this foot, depending on how sore it is, if I put anything on it, I might glue it. And, well, we don't want any glue. We don't want...
And this is the owner saying that.
We don't want. But then there's...
What do you want?
Well, we don't want to put boots on the horse either.
Okay. So what do you want?
Exactly.
Customer?
Well, they want to keep doing what they're doing, so...
And what are they doing?
This.
Nothing.
Basically.
Zippo.
I don't know if they're treating what the vet's doing as far as any metabolic problems or anything like that. Hopefully that has been taken care of. But on the other end, I've had case where you get something like this. No, my horse is not metabolic. No, my horse is not metabolic. Oh no, is not. Oh no, is not. Oh no, is not.
Oh no, it is. And now you're in a world of hurt.
Right. And so the point is pay attention to it before it becomes a problem, right?
Correct.
And let's take care of the problem. And I find it a little difficult. And I've been in these situations too many times where somebody's, I want this fixed, this fixed, this fixed. Can you come out and take a look at my horse? But I want everything done exactly like it is. Yeah. Well, at that point, it's kind of questionable whether my truck needs to hit the highway.
I don't know. I don't understand what that means. I want everything done like it is. What does that mean? Like,
I don't want anything changed, but I want you to fix my horse.
But what, I mean, you would have to change it because changing is what the horse needs. If it continues on this path, it's like out of sight, out of mind. Oh, it'll fix itself.
Oh, it will.
No, it won't fix itself. It'll end up doing something rash or very, very bad for the horse.
It could settle down. And next time it's a little more, next time it's a little more, next time it's a little more. But this horse, if you look at the thickness of that wall, and I have no numbers to put it to, and you look at the sole thickness, and you look at that live spacing on the wall, and you look at the spacing under the coffin bone, you haven't got a lot of live tissue under there. You haven't got a lot of hoof mass under there.
Who took the x-ray?
I got secondhand information sent to me.
Okay. I didn't know if it was like a friend of ours that we've had on the show that came over and did the any of the x-rays or stuff.
No, okay. No, it was not. And typically the vets that I work with a lot will contact me direct. And
the reason why I asked is because I don't see any like documentation on the x-ray. Like normally it says Dr. Johanovich, from the,
right.
Athlete Medical Center at the top. I don't see anything on these.
And I prefer to deal directly with the veterinarian.
Yeah.
And I never was led on to who the veterinarian was.
Okay. So you're going in it blind.
Totally. And that's not a good place to be. But that being said, this is one of those deals that paying a little attention early on to your horse, mm-hmm. and paying attention to weight and everything else could have made a difference and us not even be having this discussion.
Now,
on the other end, if we're not going to change anything or do anything, why are we having this discussion?
Now, people that are out there right now changing in the equine world is a company that we had here on the air a few seasons back, I think it was, and there were
Right.
Equine 1, I believe.
Equine 1.
Or what they call over in the Canadian border on that side, the Hoof Doctor. Now, Mike, you've teamed up with them now.
A little bit.
So tell us what you're teaming up with them with and what you're offering our listeners out there.
We're offering listeners, if they'd have to go to our video part, correct?
Correct.
Through video, and they can get a 10% discount on Hoof Number 1, Hoof Doctor, depending on where you're buying products. By going through a link, we can get our customers, our people who want to use that link, can get them a little bit of a discount on the product. And it's good. If you want all natural products, it's good stuff. Birch bark, I think, is birch bark oil is one of the things they're using, but it's all natural products. I have used it on rotten thrushy feet under pads. I've used it and I've been impressed with it, and talking to other farriers out there who have a lot of experience with it, and who are people that I know and trust, that it is a good product. So you can get a 10% discount.
And you can go back to season 8, episode 1, and you can see all the information that Steve McConnell. Would I say
Steve McConnell?
Steve McConnell?
He's Canadian.
Yeah. So
yeah, you can say however you want to.
Over at the Hoof Doctor, you can see all the information of what these products actually do. All right, guys, stick around. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to dive into, and we're going to talk about, coming up next, talking terminology, the definition of sternum in a horse. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back.
Right. Yes.
And where can everyone find you? And do me a favor, Steve, hold up those products to the camera. I know you're on a mirror image so that the product's going to look backwards, so everyone can see your products there. So if you hold them up to the camera there, what's it?
So this is your hoof, your Equine 1 hoof dressing, and this is your Equine 1 hoof mender putty. So this is what you'll see in the tack stores or when you're going online. This is what you want: the putty and then the oil.
Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. If you'd like to ask Mike Stine a question, the way you do that is go to equinedynamics.com. At the top of the page says contacts. Fill out that little form. Make sure you put a physical address in there. And if we read your question here on the air or just answer it in real time via email, we'll send you out a prize pack as well. And we'll ship it right to your front door. And over on my far end side is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing good, Travis. How are you?
Doing all right. Now, talking terminology. Talking terminology is, for those of you that are new to the show, we try to define words that you might hear your veterinarian use, might hear your trainer use, your farrier use, or just anyone in the barn, all your barn mates out there.
Right.
And so you don't have to sit there and go, well, what does that mean? What does that mean? If you're too shy to ask or anything like that, well, we define those things for you. And this has been a running series here on the show, which is great. And so this week we're going to talk about defining sternum of a horse. Now, before you, Mike Stine, and over to my far inside is Mike Stine over there.
Yes. How are you, Travis?
I'm doing all right.
Sure.
Before you talk about what a sternum is, the only time I've heard the word sternum is back in the WCW and my WWF wrestling days. Not me.
You were wrestling?
No, not me. I'm talking about watching it, because I remember Mean Gene Okerlund always going, oh, and a boot to the sternum, or, a hit to the sternum. And it's always, this fancy word when they were wrestling. So, oh, a karate chopped right to the sternum and the Hulkster goes down, that type of deal.
Right.
That's the only time I've heard the word used, not professionally, but just in real time as a kid growing up. So when I think sternum, I'm thinking that your chest, for the most part, chest and that your rib cage and stuff.
Bone right there between you where your ribs connect into the sternum. It comes up and ties into your collarbone on your horse, which keeps your shoulders kind of equal on either side of your body, correct?
All right, so on a horse, where is the actual physical sternum that we should be looking for?
It is where the rib cage comes under. It's down but behind your elbows, comes up through the chest. You can feel it where your ribs tied together. You can feel where your girth goes in, come forward straight up the middle, as long as the horse is not leaning, because the horse does not have a collarbone. So with a collarbone, it kind of keeps us the same distance out. A horse, the middle can shift between the shoulders.
So is the sternum on a horse more towards the ground as to where it would be up towards what I would think the chest?
If you went down more onto all fours.
You're talking about me. Okay.
And you should stay there, never get up.
Okay. Where
Where would your sternum start And where would it end up?
I would
Same
offer,
general position.
I would offer to do that right now, but we don't have a camera that would get to showing me on the ground.
And it's not a full moon, so you have to start howling at the moon.
Exactly. But it is April Fool's, so you never know what's going to happen. So the definition, the sternum runs in the groove between the pectoral muscles that form at the horse's chest, passes between the forelimbs, and it ends a few inches behind the elbow of the horse. Behind the elbow, the sternum forms on the girth line. Horses have 18 pairs of ribs, a pair for each thoracic vertebrae, or vertebra is what you had here.
Right.
So why
thoracic vertebrae, yeah.
So why are we talking about the actual, why do we need to know where the sternum is on a horse? What's the importance of knowing where that's at?
The importance is when you're watching a horse and horses wiggle, they squirm, they move, the shoulders are not tied in like ours are through a collarbone.
Mm-hmm.
And when a horse shifts from one side to the other, shifts their weight, their whole barrel can shift back and forth between their shoulders. And so the shoulder is supported in a muscle sling, and it's adjustable. So that's going to lead into some of our next discussion. So it's not always a fixed place. It's much more fixed on a human than it is on a horse.
Now, I told you my wife, we have Diego,
right,
and we have Dominique and Cayenne here on the property. Should a rider or an owner go out there?
Cayenne's a little spicy.
I know, she is a little spicy. Is there something that I'm looking for if I'm rubbing the sternum? Am I looking for something? Am I looking for like kids growing up? You always look at their spine to see if it's crooked or if it's straight in a line or anything like that.
If a horse is standing up, it would be ideal if a horse is standing roughly square, that kind of thing, if the sternum was in the middle between the shoulders, right? Yeah, between your elbows, evenly, ideally.
Okay, so you want to...
But guess what? It's not sometimes.
Okay. Well, you want to talk about that?
Shifts.
Do you want to talk about that? Take a little break and talk about that when we come back?
We will.
Okay, so stick around, guys. The definition of a sternum, why we need to know where a sternum is. We're going to dive into the actual anatomy of leaning of a horse and why we brought up sternum as our talking terminology topic. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. You ready?
Yes.
I'm not rushing you, am I?
I'm not rushing.
Okay.
Never been there.
You got the journal that you want to talk about?
I do.
My new watch says, get up and move. You've been sitting too long.
Yes.
I'm working. Leave me alone. You ready?
Yes.
Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. You can follow him over on YouTube as well. And you can see us here in the studio, me waving to Mike, Mike waving to me over there. And for every podcast we do, we have a matching video over on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to him over there. And that's where you can find your 10% off of the Hoof Doctor Equine 1 products over there. Just click on that link, order your stuff, you get 10% off. And you guys can enjoy all the good products and awesome things that they do over there at Hoof Doctor Equine 1. I'm going to get that right here soon.
Yes.
And over to my far right side is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing good, Travis. How are you?
I got this new watch that if I stand or sit too long in one area sedative, it vibrates and goes, hey, get moving there, chunky. And I'm like, well, I'm working. I can't. And I have to tell it, I'm working. I can't move right now. It would not be.
Does it tell time?
It tells time. It's off sometimes. No, I'm just kidding. It can't be off. No, now it's telling me to start walking. If you're watching here on the video, it says start walking there. Walking, I can walk or bike ride or run or running coach. All right. So, Mike, you brought an article from the American Farrier's Journal.
Right.
And this is written by Deb Bennett again.
Deb Bennett, yes.
And we're going to talk about the anatomy of leaning. Now, this is the first part of the anatomy of leaning. So tell us what we're going to discuss here and what Deb Bennett was talking about in the American Farrier's Journal this month.
This is part of why we were talking about the sternum this morning.
All right. Tell us how all that connects together.
How does it connect together?
Hip bone and leg bone connected to the whatever bone.
Bones are connected to bones, and some bones aren't connected in a horse, right?
Yes.
So on a horse, the whole shoulder sling, the elbow, the shoulder joint, and you have the scapula, but between the shoulder joint and the sternum, there's no connection between there and the rib cage other than muscle sling, tendons, and fascia and all that sort of deal. So what can happen if you watch horses moving out, when they change directions, when they shift their weight, that whole apparatus can shift from side to side. If they're shifting weight onto one leg, the sternum can shift closer to the elbow that's bearing weight, or further away to unload the elbow that's not bearing weight. For a horse to kick a football, you can't kick the football with the leg that you're putting all the weight on, right?
Says you. I could do it.
Well, you could, but you're not. You're special.
You ever seen those one-legged football kickers?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not many.
Right. But during the actual kick, they're not bearing weight on that leg between them and the ground.
No, they're using that to push off.
Right. So anyway, when you're doing lateral maneuvers, that does not since a horse does not have a collarbone, that whole barrel apparatus can shift from one side to the other, and the sternum does not have to stay in the middle of the horse. And so that is one point. If you're putting stickers on your horse, you could put a sticker on the point of the elbow, put a sticker on the sternum, standing them up, and start looking at what your distances look at and how even is my horse.
Now, do they sell actual horse stickers where you can do that, like little dots, or this is something that...
We need to start selling
I was just gonna say.
Equine dynamic dots to stick on your horse.
Yeah, I mean, we have the little button pins, and we had the little square little magnets and stuff. We
can stick those. Yeah.
Well, no,
the horse might get mad if you stuck a button pin on it.
No, but we're gonna make 1-inch little round stickers.
So you can stick on certain points and then step back and take a look.
And I got to get to the HR people or the
HRP. Yeah, all our office staff.
Yeah,
they need to get it together because they should have had that done already.
I know. Make stickers. There, I'm writing it down.
Right.
All right.
And the other thing is a plumb line.
And we can make our own plumb line series.
Right.
I'm kidding.
Yes, we can. We can make an Equine Dynamics plumb line.
I'm getting off track there. Sorry, Mike.
No, you can go to your feed bag and pick up a little something, a small nut, like it goes onto a bolt.
Right.
Stick it through there. In fact, when I was learning, that's kind of what we used. Now they got all these leveling devices, laser, and all that kind of stuff. Right. But, if you want to be cheap,
the string line off your feed bag.
The string off your feed bag will work. And you can use that like a plumb bob. If you hold the plumb bob and the plumb bob hangs straight down. Surveyors used to use them. We used to use them for a number of different applications with building and anyway, making sure something was straight up and down because gravity shows you where straight up and down is. So you can use that to take a look at your horse and give you some ideas. You can chalk like you draw on the sidewalks. Mm-hmm. You can mark chalk stickers, and we have done it with little stickers, stuck them in places on a horse, stuck it on the hip bone, stuck it wherever, so you can get a better visual of what the alignment is. And people in their minds want to make their horses straight and square, but truth is, you got to learn to see it. And part of my job is I better be catching what's going on with the horse. And people all the time say, "Well, my horse is even. My horse doesn't lean. My horse is straight." So a horse that's leaning and constantly leans, you're going to see some difference in muscle mass. We've been over this over and over and over. And also, when they're leaning to one side, the barrel will shift that way. And because that whole rib cage and sternum can shift side to side between the shoulder blades, between your shoulder joints, between your elbow joints, right?
Yes.
And they can bend. Where they were taking videos of the Spanish riding school horses from above, from front, behind, and if the above videos are really interesting, if you can ever get a chance to look at them, you rarely see this, but that horse's body is twisting and squirming and all over the place. They're riding, riding something squirming like a worm. And the rider is not just up and down, their pelvis has to move with all the squirms and give freedom for the horse to move with all the squirms, right?
Yeah, and you would think, you're trying to get the horse to ride straight and stuff, and here we are strapping a saddle on it, and we're restricting the movement of the horse. You're restricting that barrel from moving side to side to give the horse complete momentum, complete movement and everything. It's a wonder why the horse lets us ride him.
Yes.
It's just amazing.
Yeah, I know that when I was down in Australia with Ray and Peter Acton, Peter was a Nuno Oliveira student, and he did a lot of work from the ground, and he taught maneuvers from the ground, taught them to lift from the ground, because it was easier for him to get that and quicker to get that from the ground without the interference of everything else to get the horse to do it in a true collected frame. It gets back to the long lining that Brett and Richard are doing.
Yeah. I think there's a clinic coming up next the end of this month, next month.
Sometime, yes.
Yeah, Amy's going to that. I think the long line.
I was supposed
clinic.
to get dates on that. I don't think I've gotten them yet.
I think it's the 18th, and I've got it on my phone. I'll show it to you next break.
Right.
All right, guys, stick around. When we come back, Mike has taken some photos. These are the actual photos that Mike uses during his clinic, and we'll get into all the details of what these photos are and why he's brought them to the show today. So stick around. You're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. Make sure you follow him over on YouTube. I'm sorry. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. Make sure you follow him over on Facebook as well. And you can see all the different articles out there that Mike posts. If Mike posts the articles, and this is not just look at my horse and funny scenarios with horses and stuff like you see on the other horse pages and stuff. These are actual good reading articles if you want to further your education with horses and enjoying your ponies on a daily basis and make sure that you're doing everything right. Go over and follow them over on Facebook. Like and subscribe over there. You got two pages. You got the Mike Stine personal page, and then you got the Equine Dynamics Mike Stine page. And make sure you go over there because that's where he double posts a lot of stuff for his old followers, and then for all you new followers. You can get more up-to-date stuff over on the new page, Equine Dynamics Mike Stine Facebook. And over to my far hand side is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing good. Travis, how are you?
Doing good. Has anyone pulled any April Fool's jokes on you yet?
No, but I'm sure you're going to.
No. The day's too early, so I'm not the only one that you're going to see today. So just keep your eyes peeled out there, Mike. Don't fall for any tricks or traps or anything.
Okay.
All right. I'm warning you now.
Warning me. Between here and my truck, something could happen.
Something could happen. And right now, what's going to happen is if you're watching this over on YouTube, if not, jump on over there right now, because we're going to show a bunch of pictures of Mike and some of the pictures that he actually uses during his clinics. Now, if you'd like Mike Stine to perform a clinic out at your location, you can find all that information at equinedynamics.com. At the top of the page says clinics. Fill out that little form. Mike will schedule you in, and you can see all this stuff in real time right at your very location, your very own barn. If you've got a business or anything like that, you'll see it right, or we can come right there and do this for you right there. If I say right there one more time.
Right there.
Okay, so here we go. I'm going to switch to camera 4. Actually, camera 6. So what are we looking at here, Mike? We're looking at the back end of a horse and a very, very young Mike Stine.
Yes, about 50 years ago.
No, we're looking at Mike Stine, and we're looking at a painted horse.
A painted horse, and this is Indio.
Indio?
Okay. Indio. Okay. If you pay attention to him, he does not stand quite square in the back end.
Okay, hold on, because I'm going to use my knowledge as far as what I've learned. Now,
you look? Picture all the way to there.
Okay, so when I'm looking at a painted horse and I see the markings on the butt, the paint is more long.
That can be a little deceiving.
It is very deceiving, so you have to kind of eliminate that.
Right.
So I'm looking at the tail crop. That looks good. I'm looking at this first picture here, and it looks like he's got a little bit of a belly on this side and not on this side. Now, you've tried to get as square of a picture as you possibly can. Now, I'm looking at the center picture. Now, his head's a little turned, so as the head turns to the left, I would imagine that the barrel would come out to the right and almost square up, right?
Right.
And then I'm looking at the horse again, the third picture here. Now, his head's kind of cocked to the right a little bit, and I can see this little barrel out on the left-hand side, just sticking out right past his ox. Am I looking at this correctly?
You are looking at this correctly.
Yes!
And if you notice in the first picture, if you look straight down his back through his ears, he is relatively straight in the back.
His spine, his mane, and everything, and his tail is all in line.
Right. But we know with the barrel kicked out to one side with him standing relatively straight, he is standing slightly back on that left hind. But the barrel still is kicked out to the right, and he is not standing dead square, and that seems to be where he's more comfortable. When you shift the head, where the head goes more to the left, the barrel shifts to the right just a little bit. You see just a shade of it.
Yep, right here
over there.
By your pant leg right here. Yep.
Right. And then when you go to that last picture and you're turning your head back the other way, guess what? You got more bulged out there than you did before. So the barrel shifts side to side with the maneuvers. And, you know, when I tell people, oh, my horse is moving straight, watch a horse when they're walking and watch that barrel swing. Is it even, or does it swing out to one side more? I guarantee you on this horse that on the side that is sticking out to, as the horse walked, it swung bigger to that side.
And I just want to say, you know.
And his back followed it. His spine followed it.
Go ahead.
Yes. He's not straight.
So I just like to say, after, you know, doing the show for 3 years with you, Mike, if I was to look at this horse, I would think, okay, the natural movement, I'm thinking, trying to compare this to a human being. If I look to the left, I know my belly's going to go to the right. If I look to the right, I know my belly's going to turn to the left.
Correct.
And if I look at a horse, I'm going to take that same mentality and apply that to a horse. And you're saying, no, they shouldn't do that. They shouldn't do it to this extent.
They have to do that to move. But ideally, you would want the barrel when the horse in the center of the horse, which in this case it's not.
But this horse is not moving. It's standing still is what you're saying.
Right. He's standing still. And, well, let's take that back. It depends on how they're moving, but you're going to have a barrel swing. Mm-hmm. But you would want the barrel swing to be consistent from left to right. But where on this guy, it's definitely swinging more out to the right. And that says something to how the shoulders are working. That says something to how straight his back is. That says something to a few different things we got to take a look at. Is he loading? How is he bearing weight? Which side is he heavier on? Just a little bit of information a horse is throwing at you. And, you know, somebody pulls a horse out, I need to assess the situation quickly.
Okay, what picture do you want to go to next?
We can go to...
You want to go to the full or the fade? Here,
let's go to the outline.
You want to go straight to the outline?
Straight to the outline.
Okay, so here we go. Let's go to the outline.
All right.
Hold on, let me switch to... We can see it. Okay, there we go.
There you are. Okay, you know these pictures, and right off of some... This is where this horse, when we first started working on him, wanted to stand. And if you look at him in this picture, it's like, well, somebody just drew a drunk drawing of a horse. And I was asked to work on this horse, and this was probably the first time I ever saw him.
Oops, where'd he go?
And they're asking this horse to be an athlete, correct?
Yes. Hold on. Did I lose the picture? I did. Hold on. I'm trying to figure out where the horse is hiding at. There it is. All right. Got it.
Every foot on the horse was wearing different, had different compression problems. Everything else, you were chasing something different on every foot, every leg. But if you look at the way he stands there, that's kind of where he wanted to stop. And to do dressage, well, he can go diagonally one way real good because he's going that way all the time, correct?
Right. Exactly.
Okay, let's go to the next picture.
You want to do this one?
Sure.
Okay.
We had the fade in between.
Okay.
But that is the true horse. That's where the drawing came from. The story on this horse is I worked on him for about a year. We got him where he could go in a straight line, got him evened up. His mane actually evened out. And we were going along pretty good. And then we brought in the big guns on him. Remember Becky?
Yes.
Okay. He went to Becky.
Becky Holder.
Becky Holder, yes.
The Olympic rider.
The Olympic rider. And she worked with the rider and came a long way in a hurry with the rider's abilities. And this rider was very willing to work, and she worked hard at it. And they were doing the Warhorse series down in Southern Pines. Now, this is definitely not an upper-level horse, but she had a dream. He was sounder than he had ever been in his life. Had to do some creative things with shoeing. Had been working on that for a year before he went to Becky's. And it was a lot. But for his division at Warhorse that year, he won his division.
Oh, awesome.
Now, if you look at him standing here, it's like, is this an athlete? No, he's not. And we'd gotten pretty far with him as far as getting his body evened out, getting the muscling evened out. Did some body work on him, broke some things loose. Did some massage work, did the footwork, and I put my hands on this horse as far as the massage a good bit. So I was doing a lot of the body work myself, and then we brought in someone who was dealing with was used to dealing with his thoroughbreds and bringing them along and preparing horses for upper level competition and working with the rider. And when Becky came in the picture, he really blossomed.
So this horse right here, in the condition that it was at,
if you look at him, you wouldn't buy him.
I would not. Well, I would say he's a good looking horse. He's just kind of looking at me like kind of strange, but you're looking at him like he's completely sideways. His head's way over on the far left hand side of his. He is bent all to holy. But you're saying with conditioning and training, and you said his feet were sound, so there's nothing really that you needed to do with that, or what was there?
Actually, there were a lot of weird distortions with his feet. He wasn't tender-footed, let's say that.
Okay.
He was functionally sound. Was he performance sound? No, nowhere near.
Okay.
And so we were getting him performance sound, and a lot of that with him was, in a situation like this, every leg's different, so I got to treat every leg a little different. And in time, we started getting him to square up, getting more centered, getting the muscling more evened out. And then when we brought in the big guns, when Becky got a hold of him, she was methodical. She was, never over pushed. She did everything to get him built up, and for him to go to Warhorse and do what he did, he was a completely different horse after she had, between the both of us, but having somebody of that caliber taking over the conditioning and training was a big deal with getting him moving.
So where's this horse now?
As far as I know, he is in Aiken, South Carolina. And interesting, I got a phone call on him a little while back because he'd kind of gone into retirement. Went to Aiken. I got a call from a trainer, and she says, "Do you need this horse? Do you know this horse?" And I said, "Yes, I do."
What accent is that?
I don't know. This was Manuela.
Oh, Manuela.
Manuela. I worked for Manuela. Worked on a lot of horses for Manuela before she went to Aiken.
Okay.
And her claim to fame is she is Russian, Italian, but raised in France. And she rode with Jean-Louis, and I don't know Jean-Louis' last name, but he was a Olympian from, I think it was 1968 eventing from France on the French team.
Uh-huh.
Yes, exactly. And I have been to lunch with Jean-Louis because he was coming over here and doing clinics, got to know him a little bit, and it was all good fun. But anyway, she had called me about what was going on with the horse and how was it handled. We're after however much time off, we're working on putting back together. Can you give us some input so that we can, so we talked it out and went back and forth a few times and got him back to work to some level. And
well, good. So he's still around.
He's still around. He's hanging out in Aiken, and I think he's mostly hanging out in the field, eating and doing his thing.
Doing the horsey things. All right, guys, one more little segment. We'll let you get back to doing horsey things with your horses. So you're listening to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. He'll be right back. Welcome back to Equine Dynamics with Mike Stine. If you'd like Equine Dynamics podcast to perform at your
location,
at your location, your clinic, your live event, or if you've got a barn with a whole bunch of horses in there, even if you got one horse and you want to bring your whole family and friends over, we can perform a broadcast out at your location as well. Just go over to equinedynamics.com. At the top of the page says clinics. Fill that out, put podcasts in there, and we'll schedule you to come out there and do this right at your very own front doorstep.
We've got a few coming up.
Oh, we do have a few coming up? What are we doing?
We're still working with Dover Saddlery.
Okay, that's right. Dover Saddlery. We're going out there. We don't have a date set for that. We'll let you know.
And there's a couple of the Purina shops that we're talking with also.
Okay, so we'll keep you up to date on those as well. And over to my far hand side is Mike Stine. How are you?
I'm doing good. Travis, how are you?
Doing all right. So what did we learn today? Talking terminology. Why do we need to know the definition of the sternum? Now, the definition of a sternum is the sternum runs in the groove between the pectoral muscles from the horse's chest, passes through the front limbs, and ends at a few inches behind the elbow, the horse's elbow. Behind the elbow, the sternum forms at the girth line, and horses have about 18 pairs of ribs, a pair for each thoracic vertebrae. Why do we need to learn about the sternum of a horse and pay attention to it?
Well, that's a point that we can look at and get some visuals. And don't be bashful about getting stickers of any kind.
Well, we're going to get some stickers here for
Equine Dynamic stickers. They must be Equine Dynamic stickers.
Yes, because those are the official ones.
Right. And you can put them on your horse. You can get chalk like you mark the driveway and start marking some locations and stepping back and taking a look and start understanding what's going on with your horse a little better, because it will help you in the long haul on keeping your horse sound and healthy as long as possible.
And if you want their stickers, just go to equinedynamics.com and give us a return address and we'll send some out to you. Also, discussion of the anatomy of leaning and the American Farrier's Journal, and what were they saying in the journal this month?
Well, they were talking about the leaning and the fact that the rib cage can shift side to side between the shoulders, and as a horse shifts weight from one side to the other, as far as the muscles contracting, it can actually draw the rib cage closer to the shoulder on one side than the other to unload one leg. So that is constantly shifting back and forth as the horse moves. Consistently even horses will always perform better. And look at the muscling, weak side, strong side. And also with hoof balance problems, the horse shifted to one side and the rib cage does not stay in the middle, it sits over one shoulder more, you're going to have more compression problems in that foot.
And also, if you're not watching us on YouTube, now's your chance to go over to YouTube right now, and you can see the pictures of some of the stuff that Mike uses at his clinic. And you've got a picture of, what was the name of this horse? Indiglo?
We can call him Indiglo, but it was Indio, but it's Indiglo today.
Indigo. And the way the horse's head is lined, spine is all lined, tail is all lined, mane is all in line, but the barrel is sticking out here.
Right.
And then the horse cocks his head to the left, the barrel swings out to the right, and he's not moving, he's just standing there.
Right.
And the same thing with the picture number 3 here. Mike's sitting there having a little discussion about what they're going to have for lunch today over on the right-hand side of his shoulder.
That is correct.
And the barrel is...
We are having lunch.
is hanging out on the left-hand side of the horse. And then you've got these drawings as well of the actual... leaning of this horse that is bent, and what you're looking for when you're looking at the horse straight on.
Right. And you can see the center line between the pectoral muscles.
Right here, yep.
And that would be about where your sternum is. And look at that compared to the leg positioning and the points of your shoulders. And where your head comes out. Look, his head's all off to one side, but he's using the head as a ballast so he can stand up.
Yep. And then this is the picture of the horse and the barrel off to the side, and
right.
Mike having lunch with him. And then this photo right here, which is the actual outline
right.
of the actual horse that you were looking at there earlier.
Right.
All right, guys, on that note, make sure you follow him over on YouTube. Make sure you follow Mike Stine over on Facebook as well. And if you have any questions, go to equinedynamics.com. And don't forget, over on the YouTube channel at the bottom of the page, you're going to see a link for the Hoof Doctor and Equine One, 10% off all their products. Just click on that link. Order yours now. They'll send them right to your front doorstep. And this is available for people in Canada and also available in some markets overseas as well. On behalf of Mike Stine over there,
have a good day. Enjoy your ponies. And it's been fun, Travis. We're going to see what's happening between here and the truck.
All right. My name is Travis, saying see you next week.
All of the doggies are in the corral. All of your work is done. Just close your eyes and dream, little pal. Dream of someone.
Hi, Lucky. Good night, Ned.
Hi, Dusty.
Good night, Ned. Good night, Ned.